Welcome into a fresh episode of Buffa's Buffet podcast number who knows. I don't keep track of that stuff. I'm just trying to do these as much as I can and leave all that organizational stuff to when I keep doing them. You got to start a trend before you can really start messing with the trend. So today, I want to say it was going to be a film Buffa, but there might be some sports stuff thrown in there. There might be some life. There could be some gripes. There could be anything in this thing. The first one, you got one this morning. That was Is This Thing On? The Bradley Cooper film that's opening in St. Louis this week. I recorded that 3 weeks ago, thinking it was going to be released on December 17th, and it got pushed to the January 9th, this Friday. So that's what happens with those big movies. They come out in New York and LA, and then they slowly move their way into the middle of the country. And so St. Louis is usually last. That's how it is, folks. If you live in the Midwest, you get movies usually last, if there is a wait for them. So, but let's get into it. Some big news. We're going to count down. We're going to get to 5. Some of these may be small, because brevity is the idea. I got orders to pick in there, and the plumbing doesn't pick itself. When it does that, I'm out of a damn job. So I'm hoping it doesn't learn to pick itself in the next 30 minutes. So let's get to it. Number 1. Mayor of Kingstown, probably one of my favorite shows that I'm watching right now. Maybe my favorite show that I am watching is going to get renewed for a 5th season. It just finished number 4. It was bloody, kind of left a few things open, left a lot of justice to be given. You know, when you see your shirt and you're like, is that punched up? Do I got a belly? A belly podcast. I'm kidding. I'm getting thrown off. Number 1, we are still on. You know, when you do these at lunch and you switch your brain from plumbing to podcasting, there's a little bit of a delay. The brain has to. There you go. But the rumors was that it may not get a 5th season. It's going to get a 5th season. The Taylor Sheridan and Hugh Dillon, who plays Ian on the show, who people from Wind River will understand as the guy who was the lead guy on the oil rig, the group of bad guys that was responsible for the missing girl. He is in a lot of Taylor Sheridan shows. He was in Yellowstone. He's in Mayor of Kingstown. He helped create Mayor of Kingstown with Sheridan. He's the bald guy, talks fast, spits out curse words like I eat candy. That show is going to get a 5th and final season. It's going to be 8 episodes instead of 10. Sheridan and Dillon originally said they were going to try to do 7 seasons, but I think the move of Sheridan to NBC Universal is going to kind of put a nip in that. So some of the shows like Lioness and Landman are going to get new seasons and maybe more, but Mayor of Kingstown, which just finished, and they didn't know, and I think it needed a 5th season. If they would have ended this way, it wouldn't have been like it was bad. They tied off some loose ends. They left some things hanging, but they did leave a few things hanging, especially with the cartel that's trying to move into Kingstown to suck up the power vacuum that was left when the Russians were taken out in season 3, or at least taken out enough to move them out of the picture. Now it's the Aryans, of course, the Aryan Brotherhood in the prison, and then they're outside in Kingstown, and they're going head-to-head with the Mexican cartel. And then there's Edie Falco's prison warden, who's kind of wrapped up in all of it, and of course, Renner, his fixer. Because in Mayor of Kingstown, he is the unofficial mayor, the guy who keeps the peace as much as he can between the prisons, the prison system, and the prisoners that are in it, and the gangs that operate outside of it, and also the local politics and the police force, which he has family on. He's got friends on. Hugh Dillon, who co-created the show, plays Ian, one of the officers that is close friends with Renner's Mike on the show. So that's going to get a 5th season, 8 episodes. They usually get 10, so they're going to end at 48, and I think it's better than saying, hey, you're going to get 6. To wrap up a story, I think they're going to need 8. And if anybody can do it, Taylor Sheridan and Hugh Dillon can do it, man. I mean, they'll wrap that thing up with some power. I really enjoyed the last season. Let's go number 2. Blues fans will notice that Jordan Binnington is playing better. And look, it's not a big shock. When did Binnington come into fruition in the Blues team in the fans' mind? When did he rocket to stardom? In a January in 2019. I'm not saying the team's going to do what they did, but as the games start to matter, I'd love to look up these stats. I did not. Some of the more trustworthy sports reporters can do that, like Bernie Miklasz or Ben Fredrickson or Ben Hochman or some Ben. They can look it up, but I wonder if his stats do get better as the season goes along, because Binnington, for good or bad, for better or worse, is a big game goaltender. He comes alive when the games start to matter. And unfortunately for the Blues, they're going to stop mattering unless he starts to really get his shit together, and and the team starts playing better and they start winning more and consistently, and not winning 2 or 3 and then losing 1 or 2. They got to make a push. When you're located at the bottom of the pile, you got to start rising up. So he is playing better. He helped shut out the Canadians the other night. His stats in his since he came off that little hiatus where he took a break and Joe Holford kind of took over, he's playing better. But guess what? He had a rough, if you listen to Bernie Miklasz break it down, his stats were among the worst in goaltenders in the league when it comes to high leverage goals, shots being let in, goals against, average, save percentage, anything that really has a stat. His stats are still bad. That's what happens when you have a rough 2.5, 3 months. You got to dig yourself out of a hole just like the team does. But if he plays better, I think the team can play better. Sometimes a team takes a real big cue from the performance of their goaltenders. So we'll keep an eye on that. Number 3, I would think as we get closer to spring training, the more we get, Nolan Arenado is going to be a Cardinal. And that's going to be a hard thing for Oli Marmol. Brendan Donovan could get traded from the Cardinals because he's got a lot of value, and there's teams out there, especially if the Seattle Mariners want to give the Cardinals their top pitching prospect who throws with both hands. He's an ambidextrous prospect who's got a lot of hype behind him, a lot of being talked about a lot. But Arenado is going to be a guy, man. It's going to be hard to move him, and the more it gets into the off season and the closer it gets to spring training, he's just a guy that you might be stuck with. And it's going to be hard for Marmol to understand that a guy whose bat has lost a lot of its power. Fielding wise, Arenado can still play a good third base, but you don't pay a guy $25 million to play a good third base. So it's going to be tough because the team wants to get a look at Nolan Gorman at third base. They want to get a look at their prospects like J.J. Weatherholt and Thomas Saggese, who came up last year and played. Weatherholt has yet to take an at-bat in the major leagues. That's probably good. Maybe Arenado being up here will help kind of keep him there so he can get more work with the instructors. Once again, people that don't think a rebuild is necessary, it is, because if you want to wallow in mediocrity in the middle of the league towards the bottom third of the league, they can keep doing what they're doing. Spend $100 to $150, $170 million on a team that's going to finish in third or fourth place, or you can strip it down like you would a house, knock it all down and rebuild it. And Chaim Bloom is doing just that. He got one of the guys who helped build the Seattle Mariners pitching farm system. He got a scouting director, Rob Cifarillo, I think that's his name. I may be messing up his Italian last name. Rob, I'm sorry. But those two guys and all the other instructors they got, he has made 30, 40 mini hires in this team system that is going to make it better. But it's going to take time. And we don't want to rush prospects. If Arenado being here, it has to happen. It's going to be bad for Marmol to make those lineup cards if Arenado's bat is still rough, unless he just learns to be a high average hitter and he stops trying to hit home runs and he just completely adjusts himself. I don't know if he can do that. But Arenado and the team is going to be tough. But Chaim Bloom and his staff are doing so far is anything but bad. They're doing the right things, and if you look at baseball prospectus and all the analysts around, the Cardinals farm system is climbing. It is according on a few different lists, according to Bernie Miklasz, they are one of the top 10 farm systems in baseball. So it's going well. It's trending up. The better he does his job now, the faster the playoff and the October baseball, the sea of red returns to Busch Stadium. Be patient. Like me when I'm waiting for my double cheeseburger. I can't just go back to the kitchen and go, where is it? You know, I got to wait. Sip my drink, sip my beer, my milkshake, whatever the hell I'm drinking. And you just got to sit there and wait. Number 4, I am having a fun time with Entourage. And, you know, I didn't think it needed to go 8 seasons on HBO, but I'm really digging it. It's an easy show to turn your brain off to at the end of a long night. I think, you know, women and men who love those Hallmark kind of movies or the easy to digest kind of stories, that's kind of what this is for me. I can turn on Entourage. I remember most of it. I remember all of Jeremy Piven's zingers as Ari Gold, where he says the most inappropriate things. What gets said on that show probably couldn't get said today. Maybe it could. It wouldn't be as funny. But show is still holding strong. And let me tell you something, jokingly, instead of making another Avatar, James Cameron, go get Adrian Grenier. Go get Vincent Chase and make Aquaman for real. Sorry, Jason Momoa. That guy weighs about a third of what you weigh, but you know what? People who dominate underwater don't need muscles. I'm kidding. Don't do that. But Momoa is going to be moving away from Aquaman anyway. So, James, you can move right in. Number 5. This is for Uber passengers. As you know, I'm doing Uber. Gotta check the time. Plumbing doesn't pick itself. And by the way, before I get into number 5, you're watching and listening and putting up with Dan Buffa. I've been writing on the internet since 2011 when I started a WordPress site called doseofbuffa.com. That's still around, but I kind of moved to Substack a few years ago where it's kind of just like WordPress. It's just called a newsletter. It's Dan's newsletter. You know, it's the same thing. It's a blog. It's a collection of words. You choose to go read or you don't. In between, there was KSDK News, there was Fox 2, there was St. Louis Game Time, where I got to write blues articles and curse in the articles. It was so good. When you just start an article off, no big AP News style, just go, this team fucking sucks. That's how you do it. That's the award-winning start to any article. But yeah, you're listening to the Gold Buffa's Buffet podcast. And of course, all the articles, all the pods. And since November 1st, there has been a lot of pods. I have gotten my podcast game cranking. Do I have my shit together completely in life? No. Do I have my podcast game cranking? You know it. And it's all due to this awesome mount that a special lady got me. But number 5, Uber passengers. Really quickly. When you get an Uber ride, when you get one, be ready. And I will also say, when you're in the car, if you're going to do nothing, look out the window. Because I don't know what other Uber drivers feel, but when I feel like they're back there in this right here, diagonally from me, hopefully not behind me, I don't like that, and they're just staring forward, and I'm like, if I miss a turn or if I make a decision to go a different way, am I being judged? I feel like I'm being judged. So be on your phone. You don't need to have a conversation, but if I ask you how your day is going, don't be like, no, you're a human. I'm giving you a ride. I'm helping you out. Uber's taking a third of what I make, those little greedy bitches. So do me a favor. Say a word or two. But don't just look stone-headed forward like, can't do it, man. But more importantly, when I pull up, be ready. I don't want to wait. Okay? Time is money to an Uber driver. Time is everything to us. Like, there is no guaranteed paycheck. We have to get rides. We got to ride around. We got to make sure we collect you and send you off and go to the next one and keep our car in one piece. So show up on time. At least respond to a how are you doing with a word or two. You don't have to say any more words than my son does, okay? So just do that. And also don't just look straightforward at the driver unless you're talking to me. It's just weird, bro. All right, that's it. We've hit the 15-minute mark. This is one of the longer podcasts, but sometimes I just don't shut up. And there are people out there, plenty of that want me to shut up. So now that's going to happen. I'm going to go back in there. The warehouse is that way. I got to finish an order, pick another big 70-piece order going up for Cynthia by the park. That's a new little apartment building. It's not for Cynthia, that greedy lady. It's for Cynthia. It's Forsyth by the park. It's so confusing even to me. But hope you have a good day. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to try to get this posted later, hopefully in the late afternoon and evening. Until then, have a good one. Be kind, be cool, and get some good food in you, you know? Life's too short to be hungry.